I found out my wife was sleeping with my brother. I let it all burn, but only after I built the fire. I never thought I'd be the kind of guy telling this story. You know, the one who gets blindsided. The guy who's too trusting, too naive. I thought I was smarter than that. I thought my marriage was solid. My wife, Emily, and I had been married almost 10 years. We met in college. She was pre-med. I was studying architecture. She used to say she loved how methodical I was, how I always had a plan. We built our life from the ground up. First apartment, first dog, first home. No kids, by choice, just the two of us. We both had big careers and agreed to wait until the timing felt right. And then there was my brother, Jake. Jake was charming, reckless, the opposite of me in every way. The kind of guy who walks into a room and knows exactly how to get attention. He'd been in and out of relationships since high school, but he was family, my only sibling. He lost his job about a year ago. I offered to let him crash in our guest room until he got back on his feet. Emily wasn't thrilled about it. She said she liked her privacy, that Jake had a weird energy. I chalked it up to her being used to having the house to herself during the day, since I worked long hours at the firm. But eventually, she got used to it, a little too used to it. I didn't see the signs right away. That's the part that still haunts me. Looking back, there were so many. I'd come home and hear them laughing together in the kitchen. I remember walking in once and they both suddenly went silent, like I'd interrupted something. "What's up?" I asked. Emily smiled and said, "Nothing, just Jake being Jake." I didn't push. I trusted her. I wanted to trust her. But then came the little things. Her phone always face down. Late night walks to clear her head. A random new perfume I'd never seen before. I remember the exact night I knew something was wrong. I came home late from a client meeting. The house was quiet. I walked past the guest room and noticed the door was shut, but the lights were on underneath. I opened the door. Jake was alone, sitting on the edge of the bed, shirtless, scrolling on his phone. He looked up and grinned. "Hey man, you're back late." I nodded. I wanted to ask, "Where's Emily?" But I didn't. I just said, "Yeah." The next morning, she acted normal. Too normal. Like she was trying to steer the conversation the entire time we had coffee. That's when it clicked. I was being handled. The thing about betrayal, real betrayal, is that it doesn't explode all at once. It seeps. Slowly. It poisons everything until you can't even remember what clean air felt like. I didn't want revenge. Not at first. I just wanted to know. I needed to be absolutely sure before I burned the last 10 years of my life to the ground. So I started testing her. I told her I'd be working late on a Wednesday. I wasn't. I parked 3 blocks away, turned off my phone, and walked home just before 9 p.m. The house was dark, but not empty. I saw Jake's car in the driveway. I crept in through the side door, which I'd purposely left unlocked. No footsteps. No sound at all. I got to the hallway just outside the guest room. Then I heard it, her voice, laughing. I didn't barge in. I stood there, frozen. And I listened. They weren't having sex, not then. But they were talking like two people who had been, and still planned to. Jake said, "He's gonna find out eventually." Emily laughed and said, "He's too dense. Always has been." That was it. That was my confirmation. Not just the affair, the contempt. They weren't sorry. They were comfortable. That's when something in me broke, or maybe snapped into place. I stepped outside, walked calmly back to my car, and sat there for almost an hour in complete silence. I didn't cry. I didn't rage. I started planning. The next morning, I kissed Emily on the forehead before I left for work. She smiled at me like nothing was wrong. I filed for a free consultation with a divorce attorney during my lunch break. Then another. Then another. I spoke to 4 in total before I picked the one I liked. A soft-spoken woman named Ms. Lynn, who had the sharpest eyes I'd ever seen. "Do you have evidence?" she asked. "Not yet," I said, "but I'm working on it." Over the next month, I built a digital wall around myself. I changed passwords, separated my finances, redirected my paychecks to a private account she didn't know about, backed up every shared file and bank statement. At home, I was perfect, loving, calm, predictable. I kissed her, cooked for her, watched Netflix. I was the husband she wanted me to be. And while she was sleeping, I was scraping our security cam footage, checking timestamps, audio logs, and text message backups. You'd be amazed what people say when they think no one's listening. I found it all. Screenshots of text conversations with Jake, nudes, calendar entries. One voice message where Jake even said, "Imagine his face when he finds out." I made backups, multiple drives, off-site storage, even one mailed to my cousin across the country. Then I waited. Waited for the moment when the evidence was airtight. And when it was, I called Ms. Lynn. "It's time," I told her. "Then let's file," she said. The night before I filed, I sat across from Emily on the couch while she scrolled through her phone like nothing was wrong. She laughed at some meme, showed it to me, and I forced a smile. I asked her, "Do you think we're happy?" She looked up, surprised. "What do you mean?" "Just wondering," I said. 10 years is a long time. I guess I've been thinking about what we've built." She softened a bit. "I mean, we have our ups and downs. But yeah, I'd say we're good." I nodded. "That's good to hear." I didn't sleep that night. Not because I was nervous, but because I was finally calm. I drove straight to my lawyer's office the next morning, signed the final papers, and let the process begin. The papers were served that Friday. She got them at 4:37 p.m. I know that because I was sitting in my car 2 blocks away, watching the process server walk up to our front door. She opened it in her yoga pants and a mug in her hand. The server handed her the envelope. She looked confused at first, then stunned, then angry. I drove away before she could look around. When I came home later that night, the house was a minefield. "You blindsided me," she yelled before I could even set my keys down. "No," I said. "I just stopped playing stupid." She stormed toward me with the envelope in hand. "Divorce? What the hell is this?" I looked her dead in the eye. "It's reality." She stared at me like I was a stranger. Then her voice dropped. "Is this about Jake?" I didn't answer. I walked past her into the kitchen, poured myself a glass of water, and sat down. She followed. "This is ridiculous. Nothing happened." I finally looked at her. "You sure you want to lie right now?" Silence. "I have the texts, the voice memos, the hotel confirmations. You both signed the digital receipt last month." Her face turned white. "I've been documenting everything for 5 weeks," I continued. This wasn't a reaction. It was a strategy. She collapsed into a chair, covered her face. "I didn't mean for this to happen." "No," I said. "You just didn't mean to get caught." She started crying. Real, guttural sobs. I felt nothing. No anger. No sadness. No joy. Just a sense of clean, brutal clarity. "Why didn't you just talk to me?" she asked between sobs. "You did talk to me," I said. "Just not when I was in the room." The divorce moved fast. Thanks to the evidence I'd gathered, Emily didn't stand a chance. My lawyer brought receipts, screenshots, even a copy of one of the hotel's video logs. Emily tried to claim emotional instability, said I was being vindictive. But the judge wasn't buying it. She cried through half of the hearing, not because she was sorry, but because she finally realized I wasn't coming back. I got the house. I got the car. She got her freedom, I guess. The thing she valued most. We didn't have kids, but we did have one shared custody item. Max, our dog. He was 10 years old, arthritic, a little slow, but still full of love. Emily fought hard for him. "He's my baby," she said. "He sleeps in my bed every night." But I had a secret weapon, one she didn't expect. During the proceedings, the judge offered to let us test Max's preference. He was brought to the courthouse by a family friend. When Max saw me, he practically dragged the leash out of her hand and ran straight to me. He jumped on me and whined, tail wagging like he was 5 years younger. Emily tried to call him. He looked at her once, then curled up at my feet. That was the first moment I broke, just a little. I scratched behind his ears, trying to hold it together. The judge smiled and said, "I think the dog has made his choice." Emily left the courtroom without looking back. I sat there with Max's head in my lap, finally crying. Quietly this time. Not because I missed her, but because I'd finally let go. I didn't reach out to Jake. I didn't confront him. I didn't need to. Word spreads fast in families, especially ours. My parents were furious. Not just because he slept with my wife, but because he lied about it for months. My mom called me 2 days after the divorce was finalized. She said, "You don't have to say anything, but just know, we had no idea. We're done with him." Jake tried to spin it. said it just happened, that he was in a dark place, that Emily seduced him, but no one was buying it. He was officially uninvited to Thanksgiving, Christmas, and every family event after that. The job he finally picked up? Gone. Apparently someone at HR saw the text I leaked. Turns out dating your brother's wife, and bragging about it, violates a lot of workplace ethics policies. I didn't ruin him. I didn't have to. He did it to himself. Last I heard, he moved out of state. No job, no friends, and as far as I know, no Emily either. She stopped replying to his messages 2 weeks after the divorce. Turns out betrayal's a hard foundation to build on. Me? I kept the house, repainted the walls, got a new couch, started seeing a therapist, took Max for long walks every morning. I'm not happy yet, but I'm healing. And for the first time in years, I can finally breathe. Update, 2 months later, when the mask fully came off. It's been 2 months since the divorce was finalized. I thought it was over. I truly did. I assumed the papers would be the last page in the story, but apparently some people don't know when to let go. The first sign was subtle. A voicemail left at my office, anonymous, but clearly distorted, like someone masking their voice with an app. It accused me of stealing company assets, leaking client data. At first, I thought it was spam, but then it happened again. This time the message included specific client names only someone close to me would know. Then came the emails. My manager called me into his office, said someone had submitted a complaint claiming I was using company resources to track and harass an ex-partner. The complaint was full of legal buzzwords: digital surveillance, emotional coercion, retaliatory misconduct. My heart sank. I knew exactly where this was coming from. My ex-wife Emily wasn't just angry, she was unraveling. She'd gone from guilty to vengeful, and she was trying to destroy me piece by piece. I calmly explained the situation to my manager. Thankfully, he'd known me for years. I showed him the full documentation, the court rulings, the evidence used in the divorce, even the restraining order I'd filed the previous week when she tried to show up at my house screaming at 3 a.m. He nodded slowly. "We'll handle it. Just protect your personal devices." That night, I changed every password again, wiped my social media, tightened my network settings. I found out she'd messaged 2 of my ex-girlfriends, trying to get them to join a lawsuit against me. One of them sent me screenshots. Emily claimed I'd been emotionally abusive, said she had proof, but she never attached anything, because there was nothing to attach. A week later, I got a call from her mom. Not to apologize, not even to explain, just to cry. She said, "I don't recognize her anymore. She won't eat. She barely sleeps. She's obsessed with you. I think she needs help." I didn't know what to say. It would have been easy to feel pity, but I didn't, because none of this was about healing. It was about control. She had control for 10 years, and when that ended, she spiraled. Last week, she posted a cryptic message on Facebook, something like, "Sometimes the wrong people get away with everything, but the universe keeps receipts." I didn't respond. I didn't reach out. I blocked the account, but I saved the post, just in case. My lawyer's been informed of everything. We're building a case for harassment. And Jake? Radio silence. I imagine even he's trying to stay far away from this train wreck. I used to think the divorce was the end, but now I see it differently. The marriage was just the first storm. The divorce was the lightning. And this? This is the aftershock, but I'm not afraid of her anymore. Not of what she'll say, not of what she'll try. Because now, everything she does only proves I made the right decision. And one day soon, she'll run out of bridges to burn, and I'll still be standing.